Every relationship you've ever had, whether with a partner, a friend, or family, has one silent destroyer: unforgiveness. It poisons trust, builds walls, and turns love into resentment. Back. But here's the truth: holding on to anger doesn't hurt them, it hurts you. Imagine breaking free from the weight of grudges and discovering that forgiveness isn't weakness. It's the ultimate power to heal, back, to grow, and to transform your connections forever. Welcome to Connected Souls. I'm Leila Hormozi, here to help you heal, grow, and thrive in love. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as something we do for others, back, but in truth, it is one of the greatest gifts we can give to ourselves. When someone hurts us, we naturally hold on to the anger, disappointment, or betrayal because it feels like a form of justice. We convince ourselves that by staying angry, we are protecting our dignity or ensuring that the other person realizes the depth of our pain. Yet, what often goes unnoticed is the weight that resentment places on our own hearts. Every thought of anger, every replay of the situation, and every ounce of bitterness builds a prison around us. Take it back, keeping us stuck in the very pain we want to escape from. Forgiveness is the key that opens that door, releasing us from the heaviness we've been carrying and allowing us to breathe freely again. Back. When you refuse to forgive, it is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. The truth is, the person you hurt most by holding on to anger is yourself. The sleepless nights, the mental exhaustion, back, and the bitterness that creeps into other areas of your life are all consequences of not letting go. Resentment does not punish the other person. It punishes you. Back. That is why forgiveness is less about excusing the wrong and more about freeing your own spirit. By forgiving, you are not saying what happened was okay. Instead, back, you are saying that you refuse to let the wound define your happiness any longer. You are reclaiming your emotional energy and redirecting it toward peace and healing rather than pain and destruction. Forgiveness is also a form of emotional decluttering. Imagine your mind as a home filled with memories and experiences. If you leave resentment, anger, and grudges scattered everywhere, the space becomes cramped, suffocating, and overwhelming. You cannot think clearly, you cannot welcome new positive emotions, and you cannot enjoy the present moment. Forgiveness is like opening the windows, sweeping out the dust, it back, and creating space for light and fresh air to come in. When you let go of the clutter of past pain, you create room for joy, kindness, and deeper connections to flourish. It back, you stop reliving the past and finally start living in the present. Many people resist forgiveness because they believe it makes them weak, as if forgiving means lowering your guard or tolerating mistreatment. In reality, back, forgiveness is one of the most powerful and courageous choices you can make. It takes far more strength to let go of pain than to hold on to it. Anyone can stay bitter, but it requires emotional maturity and inner resilience to rise above the situation. Forgiveness is strength because it shows that your peace matters more than your pride. Back. It reflects the wisdom to see beyond the hurt and the courage to prioritize your healing over revenge. By choosing forgiveness, you declare that you will not allow someone else's actions to control your emotional state. It back. The act of forgiving also nurtures your mental and physical well-being. Scientific studies have shown that people who practice forgiveness experience less stress, lower blood pressure, and improved overall health. Anger and resentment, on the other hand, can lead to anxiety, depression, and even physical ailments caused by chronic stress. Your body feels what your mind holds on to. Back. Carrying hatred or bitterness is like dragging a heavy load wherever you go. It drains your energy and diminishes your vitality. Forgiveness is a form of self-care. Back. A way of prioritizing your health and happiness over the negativity of the past. By choosing to forgive, you give your mind and body the chance to heal and thrive. Back. Forgiveness also changes the way you see the world and the people around you. When you let go of anger, you begin to approach life with more compassion and empathy. You understand that people make mistakes, back, sometimes out of ignorance, weakness, or their own unhealed wounds. This doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it allows you to see situations with greater clarity and wisdom. Back. Instead of viewing yourself as a victim chained to what happened, you see yourself as someone who has grown stronger because of it. Forgiveness shifts your perspective from pain to empowerment. Back. Giving you the freedom to choose how you want to move forward. When you carry resentment, it often spills into other relationships and areas of your life. You may find yourself less trusting, more guarded, back, and quicker to assume the worst in others. This creates barriers that prevent authentic connections and meaningful experiences. But when you forgive, you break that cycle. You open yourself to new possibilities and healthier relationships because you are no longer burdened by past pain. Forgiveness teaches you to set boundaries without bitterness, back, to protect your peace without isolating yourself, and to love without fear. It gives you the ability to move forward with an open heart, ready to experience deeper and more fulfilling connections. Forgiveness also strengthens your inner voice and builds emotional resilience. Every time you choose to forgive, you reinforce the belief that your peace of mind is worth protecting. It becomes a reminder that you control your emotions, not the people or circumstances around you. This empowerment becomes a guiding force in your life, helping you handle future challenges with greater strength. Back. Instead of being easily broken by betrayal or disappointment, you learn to process it, let it go, and grow stronger. Forgiveness equips you with the wisdom to differentiate between holding on for your own well-being and letting go for your own liberation. Forgiving does not mean forgetting. nor does it mean allowing harmful patterns to continue. It is about acknowledging the pain, learning the lesson, and releasing the emotional grip that keeps you tied to the hurt back. It's possible to forgive someone and still decide that they no longer belong in your life. Forgiveness does not erase accountability, rather, it gives you the clarity to set healthy boundaries while refusing to carry emotional baggage. This balance allows you to protect your peace without losing your capacity for compassion. Forgiveness is not about erasing the past. It is about refusing to let the past erase you. At its core, forgiveness is an act of freedom. It is the decision to no longer live in the shadow of past wounds and instead embrace the light of a new beginning. It is the realization that your well-being matters more than your grudges and that your happiness deserves to be unshackled from pain. Forgiveness is the doorway to peace, the path to healing, and the foundation for emotional freedom. The moment you choose to forgive, you are not only releasing the person who hurt you, but you are also releasing yourself from the chains of resentment. And in that release, you rediscover the fullness of your strength, the beauty of your spirit, and the power of your own heart. ChatGPT said every relationship, whether it is with a partner, family member, or friend, is built on shared experiences, trust, and understanding. But no matter how much love exists, conflicts and misunderstandings are inevitable. Words may be spoken in anger, actions may cause disappointment, and expectations may be unmet. These moments can leave scars if they are not healed, and sometimes people carry these wounds silently, allowing them to grow to walls of resentment. Forgiveness is what softens those walls, creating bridges instead of barriers. It becomes the tool that allows two people to reconnect, to see beyond the mistakes, and to rebuild what might have been damaged. Without forgiveness, the cracks deepen, but with it, relationships often grow stronger and more meaningful. Trust is delicate, and once it is shaken, many believe it can never fully return. Yet forgiveness proves otherwise. When someone chooses to forgive, they show that the bond is worth more than the pain that was caused. It is a choice to nurture the connection rather than abandon it. This does not mean pretending the hurt never happened, but rather acknowledging it and choosing healing over separation. Forgiveness opens the door for honest conversations, where both people can express their feelings and rebuild trust step by step. In this process, vulnerability is shared, and that vulnerability creates deeper intimacy. What once threatened to divide two people can actually become the foundation of a stronger relationship. Forgiveness teaches us empathy, because to forgive, we must try to understand. We must step into the perspective of the other person, not to excuse their actions, but to recognize that mistakes are part of being human. Everyone acts out of their own experiences, struggles, and imperfections. When we choose forgiveness, we acknowledge that people are not defined by their mistakes, just as we hope not to be defined by ours. This understanding fosters compassion. And compassion is the glue that holds relationships together during difficult times. It transforms anger into patience and blame into dialogue, allowing the bond to deepen instead of wither. Relationships thrive not in the absence of mistakes, but in the presence of growth. Every time forgiveness is given, a lesson is learned and the relationship becomes wiser. Without forgiveness, the weight of grudges piles up until the connection collapses under the pressure. But forgiveness allows relationships to breathe, to heal, and to move forward with renewed energy. It is like pruning a tree, removing the damaged parts so that new growth can flourish. Over time, the roots of forgiveness dig deeper, making the relationship more resilient against future storms. What once could have broken the bond instead becomes a reminder of its strength. Forgiveness also creates an atmosphere of safety. When two people know that forgiveness is possible, they feel free to be authentic, to share their truths without fear of permanent rejection. This does not mean they act carelessly, but rather that they trust the relationship enough to face challenges openly. In such a space, mistakes become opportunities for growth rather than weapons of destruction. Both people feel valued not only for their successes, but also for their ability to admit flaws and seek forgiveness. This mutual acceptance builds a foundation of loyalty, where both sides know they can stumble and still be embraced. Holding on to grudges in relationships is like carrying invisible chains. Every interaction comes influenced by unresolved anger, and even joyful moments are clouded by unspoken tension. Over time, this can erode the bond, creating distance that feels impossible to close. Forgiveness, however, breaks those chains, allowing the relationship to move forward without being anchored to past pain. It restores lightness and joy, reminding both people why they value each other in the first place. The laughter feels genuine again, the conversations flow freely, and the connection becomes alive once more. Forgiveness returns the gift of presence, allowing both individuals to enjoy each moment without the shadow of yesterday. Forgiveness also shapes the legacy of a relationship. When people look back on their shared journey, what often stands out is not the mistakes, but the way they overcame them. Forgiveness becomes the story of resilience, the proof that the bond was strong enough to survive trials. This shared history deepens appreciation, reminding both people of the strength and commitment they chose to build together. Instead of being defined by conflict, the relationship becomes defined by reconciliation. These stories become the lessons they carry forward, not only strengthening their bond, but also inspiring others who witness the power of forgiveness in action. Back. There is also a spiritual element to forgiveness in relationships. When you forgive, you release negative energy and invite harmony into the connection. Back. This shift in energy transforms not only the way you feel about the other person, but also the way they feel about themselves. Being forgiven can be deeply humbling, inspiring the other person to reflect, change, and grow. It becomes a cycle of healing where forgiveness encourages accountability, and accountability nurtures stronger love. Forgiveness restores balance, replacing bitterness with gratitude and hostility with peace. Back. It is this balance that allows relationships to flourish even after storms. Sometimes forgiveness is not immediate, and that is okay. Deep wounds require time to process, and genuine forgiveness cannot be forced. It back. What matters is the willingness to eventually let go, even if it takes patience and reflection. This process itself strengthens the bond because it shows a commitment to healing rather than abandonment. Each step toward forgiveness becomes a reminder of the relationship's value, and when forgiveness finally arrives, it feels like a renewal. Both people emerge with a deeper appreciation for one another and a greater understanding of what it means to truly love. Forgiveness may take time, but the results are always worth the wait. Ultimately, forgiveness in relationships is an act of love that nurtures trust, empathy, and resilience. It prevents wounds from turning into walls and instead transforms them into stepping stones toward greater connection. It requires courage, patience, and humility, but the reward is a bond that is stronger and more enduring. Forgiveness teaches us that mistakes do not have to end relationships, they can deepen them. Every act of forgiveness becomes a reminder that love is stronger than pride, compassion is stronger than anger, and connection is stronger than conflict. And it is in this understanding that relationships truly thrive. Growth in relationships is not found in perfection, but in the ability to learn and rise from mistakes. Every bond will be tested at some point, whether through misunderstandings, broken promises, or moments of weakness. These moments can feel painful, but they also hold the power to shape us into wiser, stronger individuals. Forgiveness is the foundation that transforms mistakes into lessons and challenges into opportunities. Without it, small cracks turn into permanent divides, and unresolved pain festers until it erodes the connection. With forgiveness, those cracks become spaces where understanding and patience can enter, leading to greater maturity. Each act of forgiveness becomes a stepping stone showing that relationships are not destroyed by mistakes, but by the refusal to grow through them. When forgiveness enters a relationship, it creates space for humility. To forgive is to acknowledge that no one is immune to error and that both people are human, navigating life with their own flaws and struggles. This humility softens pride, making way for meaningful dialogue instead of defensive silence. It encourages individuals to admit when they are wrong and to take responsibility for their actions. Through this, forgiveness becomes a teacher of accountability. Growth happens when mistakes are not hidden but addressed, and forgiveness creates the environment where this becomes possible. In such relationships, humility is not a weakness, but a strength that binds people closer together. Patience is another gift that grows from forgiveness. Healing is rarely instant, and wounds take time to close. Forgiveness does not erase the memory of pain, but it allows time and kindness to gradually dissolve its power. Choosing to forgive is choosing patience, giving the relationship room to heal rather than demanding perfection overnight. This patience nurtures resilience, showing both individuals that the bond is strong enough to endure storms. Over time, this resilience becomes an unshakable strength, turning what could have been an ending into a powerful continuation. Forgiveness teaches that growth is a process, not a single moment. Forgiveness also cultivates compassion because it requires us to see beyond the surface of someone's mistake. Often, people act from their own wounds, fears, or insecurities, and while this does not excuse harm, it provides context that allows for deeper understanding. When compassion enters a relationship, it softens anger and replaces judgment with empathy. This compassion encourages healing not just for the one who made the mistake, but also for the one offering forgiveness. It creates a cycle of kindness where both individuals feel seen, valued, and respected. Compassion born from forgiveness allows love to grow even in the soil of pain. Every time forgiveness is chosen, the relationship evolves into something more meaningful. It shifts from being fragile and conditional to being rooted in depth and trust. Without forgiveness, relationships risk staying shallow, unable to withstand hardships. But when forgiveness becomes a foundation, every challenge becomes an opportunity for transformation. The connection is no longer based on avoiding mistakes, but on overcoming them together. This type of growth is lasting because it is forged through fire and strengthened through storms. Forgiveness ensures that the bond is not just preserved, but deepened in ways that ordinary moments could never create. Forgiveness also helps people discover parts of themselves they may not have realized existed. To forgive requires strength, courage, and emotional maturity. Each time someone forgives, they uncover their capacity for grace and love, realizing they are stronger than the pain inflicted upon them. This self-discovery fuels personal growth, making them not only better partners, but also stronger individuals in all areas of life. Relationships become a mirror, reflecting back qualities like patience, resilience, and kindness that emerge through the practice of forgiveness. Growth becomes not just a shared journey, but also an individual transformation. The act of forgiveness also creates freedom. Back. Holding on to anger ties us to the past, keeping us stuck in cycles of blame and resentment. Forgiveness cuts those ties, allowing both individuals to move forward unburdened. Back. This freedom is essential for growth because it prevents the relationship from being defined by past mistakes. Instead, it allows the story to continue with new chapters written in trust, love, and resilience. Back. Without forgiveness, growth is impossible because the relationship becomes trapped in old wounds. With forgiveness, growth flourishes because both people are free to embrace the present and build the future. Back. Forgiveness also strengthens emotional connection because it requires honesty and vulnerability. When someone seeks forgiveness, they must open their heart, admit their flaws, back and trust that the other person will not use their weakness against them. When forgiveness is granted, it validates that trust, showing that vulnerability can be met with love rather than rejection. Back. This exchange deepens intimacy, making the relationship more authentic and meaningful. Growth in such a connection is inevitable because both individuals feel safe enough to be real, back, knowing they are valued even when imperfect. Forgiveness becomes the soil where authentic love takes root and blossoms. Relationships that practice forgiveness often become examples for others. Friends, family, back, and even strangers can see the strength that comes from overcoming hardships instead of abandoning them. These relationships inspire others to believe that forgiveness and growth are possible, spreading a ripple of hope. They remind the world that love is not about flawless perfection, but about the willingness to heal and rise together. Growth born from forgiveness extends far beyond two people. Take it back. It becomes a message that touches everyone who witnesses it. In this way, forgiveness not only transforms the relationship, but also the community around it. In the end, forgiveness is the bridge between pain and growth. Back. It acknowledges the reality of mistakes while refusing to let them define the future. It teaches humility, patience, compassion, and resilience, transforming ordinary bonds into extraordinary ones. Back. Forgiveness ensures that love does not wither in the face of hardship, but instead grows stronger and deeper. It is the foundation upon which true growth is built, allowing relationships to endure, evolve, and flourish. Back. When forgiveness becomes the heart of a relationship, nothing can truly break it because every challenge becomes a stepping stone toward greater love, strength, and understanding. If this touched your heart, back, don't forget to subscribe and join our soul family.